And we're live. We think we're live. So, first things first.
Hi!
Lucy's very busy laughing at me because I was like, why isn't there anybody waiting to watch this live stream? I thought, well, you know, it's New Year's Eve, everyone's probably busy. Who gives a damn about a Schola Gladiatoria live stream? 0 people. It's because I had set it to unlisted. So I completely understand that the number of you, however many out there will end up watching this, you didn't know about it because I put it on Facebook and X and a couple of other places, but I stupidly had published the upcoming live stream on, well, I hadn't published it, I'd put the upcoming live stream on the Schola channel, and seriously, I tell you, so this is behind the scenes, okay? So we can on here see concurrent viewers, and we're sitting there ready to go live, and it says 0. And I'm like, oh well, Lucy, it'll be a short live stream, and then we will go and, you know, drink wine and watch Squid Game.
Maybe I might check that it's actually showing, so I go and look on the little app on my phone, and it's not there.
That's why it's really useful having another younger, more electronically capable human in the room with you, because she's like, I can't see it. And she's like, is it unlisted? And I looked at, no, it couldn't possibly be unlisted.
He's a very capable YouTuber, but not a very capable live streamer.
I am so bad at this, I really am. So it was sitting there unlisted, so you won't have seen this. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us. This is, as you can guess, it's New Year's Eve. In the UK, it's just gone 7:30, so which is... These days, for us, we're both recovering from colds, so you can probably hear my bunged up nose and will occasionally cough, so apologies for that. But in our debilitated and Christmas addled states, honestly, the most thing that we look forward to on a New Year's Eve evening these days is... watching Squid Game and going to bed.
Playing Minecraft.
Playing Minecraft in Lisa's case. I'm not a Minecrafter. Are any of you Minecrafters? We're very interesting to know that.
Everyone's a Minecrafter.
We've been talking recently about doing some Minecraft and HEMA kind of crossover.
Because I can't stop talking about Minecraft and he can't stop talking about swords. So there are crossover areas that we can explore.
True, I barely ever talk about swords.
Sometimes he talks about cannons.
But yeah, so there we were waiting for the live stream to begin, and it was like 0 people, and then we moved it to public. I published it essentially, and it was like, yes, instantly there were 3 people. I was so happy that there were 3 people, and we're now on 75 people, which honestly, in the glory days of COVID, we used to get up to a few hundred, several hundred, I think about 600 at one point, but given that you had no warning of this, I'm extremely grateful that there are any of you here at all.
We interrupt this broadcast because you have a shiny big one.
Oh,
big box.
A super chat.
Yes, that's what
so Free State Fellow says, hello Matt and Lucy, thanks for another great year of Patreon content. Really enjoying the recent content on 17th century swords. Keep it coming.
17th century swords.
Do you know what? Going into 2025, Lucy's told me to not be too downbeat. So I'm not going to say...
No, he's not going to talk about politics.
I'm not going to talk about politics. I'm not going to talk about like all of the scary, horrible things going on in the world at the moment. Instead, I'm going to talk about what am I looking forward to, what are we looking forward to in 2025. More 17th century swords in my collection, hopefully, and also, obviously, in videos. And more cannons. We want more cannons, don't we?
You can never have too many cannons.
I've actually got my swivel gun down here.
What is the best sword that you got in 2024?
They haven't seen the swivel gun. Let's come back to that question in a second.
I'm going to move because I can't lift the swivel gun.
Sidle over. I can't remember if you guys have seen this. So this is going to feature in a normal video on the channel at some point, but it hasn't done yet. Here we go, look.
Don't drop it.
Oh, there it is. There's my 18th probably century, probably Dutch made for the Filipino market swivel gun. And it weighs about 20 or 25 kilos. I need to weigh it. But It's solid bronze. It's about a 1-inch bore, and it's absolutely magnificent. Look at that. So now I've got one, I want more. So I'm now not just a sword collector, I want to become an artillery collector. Right. Right. You can, it's the beauty of owning large guns is you can do weights with them as well as owning large guns.
Also, how long have I badgered you to get a swivel gun? And now you've got one and you love it. So...
I always, there's 108 people. I can't believe it. We are so grateful because I swear to you, six minutes ago there were 0 people. 0 people, and we were like,
I considered texting people to turn it on to make him feel better.
So I'm so happy that some people turned up. Thank you so much. This has made my New Year's Eve. As I say, I spent the last few days with the temperature and feeling rotten. So, and to be honest, I still feel rotten now. But this has perked me up and really sends us into 2025 in a good way. So. What are you looking... so Lucy's going to help me with the chat because I'm not very good at this side of things.
I'm going to have to put my glasses on because I can't see it.
So what are you looking forward to in 2025? Let's have no negative stuff.
It's a happy thing.
None of the what are you dreading in 2025, but rather what are you looking forward to? What do you want to see more of from me? More cannons, maybe?
Lots of Happy New Year messages, thank you. My kids love Minecraft. My kids love Minecraft too.
So I'm very lucky because Lucy and the kids all love Minecraft, which means they all go into Minecraft zone, which gives me free time to play Bannerlord or do other things or polish swords or things like that. So it's fantastic. Wow, there's loads of Schola Artilleria. I love it. From Texas
works.
Beast, thank you for that.
Okay, you have another super chat here. I'll scroll it for you. There you go.
I can't read the full name there. Hold on.
It says Gaslight Studios. Something.
Yeah, we can't see what the rest of the name is. Your name's too long. Are you familiar with the AWI reenacting American War of Independence Reenacting Association Redcoats and Revolutionaries? I'd love to see a crossover video between you and them. Well, thank you for your super chat. I'm actually not familiar, no, so I need to go and check that out. And as is obvious, I've always been interested in this period, in the 18th century, 19th century, now 17th century, and I really love this period where you've got swords and guns alongside each other. And I have to be completely honest, I've been developing a growing interest in pirates recently, and partly because I've moved into 17th century swords, and I've been fencing a bit more rapier this year. It's kind of made me realise how absolutely freaking awesome and underappreciated the 17th century is. Most people think about the 30 Years' War, the English Civil War, which, to be honest, I find a little bit boring. But actually there's loads of other stuff in the 17th century, all the sort of colonial stuff and piracy, which to me is like super exciting and fascinating. So I'm looking forward to learning more about that. God, there are so many comments here. 126 people we've got now. Thank you so much.
Mostly just people being lovely and saying nice things.
Hooray!
So you can just feel really happy about that.
Right, Yoav. Sorry, I'm just going to have to scroll up because it's scrolling down too quickly. We love you, Matt. I love you too, because if you guys weren't here watching, then I wouldn't be sitting here making stuff.
He'd just be saying the same things, but just to me.
Yeah, and Lucy would have heard it all by now. Thanks for the great content. I'd love some more Bronze Age content. Do you know what? In 2025, I do actually have more Bronze Age content coming for you. I don't want to give too much away, but I am planning some level of collaboration with people that do Bronze Age things. So we'll see more about that in 2025.
Which people?
You have to wait and see.
Do I know these people? Do I like these people?
No, you've not. No, you don't know these people.
Oh, I was going to say, no, you don't like them.
I had to think about it. I wasn't sure, but no, basically you don't. So yeah, Chaos Omega has put a nice super chat. Happy year to you both. I'm looking forward to my second year of HEMA. Yay! and competing in an amateur MMA fight for charity.
That's so cool.
Wow.
Awesome.
Well, good luck and good training, because I guess, I've never done MMA. Lucy has, actually. And obviously my brother-in-law, Oz, does BJJ.
He's starting up a new club next year as well, and I told him what days he can't do it on so I can actually go.
Cool. So lots of people I know train MMA, and some people in my club are former competitors as well. So my understanding is it's all about the training, isn't it? So good luck with that. I hope it goes really, really well.
You have another super chat here.
Steve Zirk. Every time you feature other creators, including your wife, and have a discussion, I jump for joy. Well, so do I, because it means I don't have to do all the talking for once. Cannot wait for more, and thanks for all you do. Well, as I said before, thanks to all of you out there, all the viewers, the patrons who sort of back up the channel, and very important to me being able to devote as much time to this as I do. But things like this as well, people who jump onto a live stream and come and contribute, so you're massively appreciated. And I think it's about, this is going to sound really gimpy to say, but it's about energy, actually. And what I'm remembering that I love about these live streams is the energy you get from the direct interaction of them. It's far more like being at a pub with a bunch of mates. So that's having a chat. Yeah, it's really, really nice. And often as a content creator, I hate that expression, but as a YouTuber... But
you do create content, so your air quotes are wrong.
But I don't think of myself as a content creator. I think of myself as a sword dealer with a YouTube channel. But as someone who makes YouTube videos, it can often be quite a lonely existence. And that... my videos that I do with other people, the collaborations, people like Zach or Drakinifil or whoever, and these people are my real life mates, the people I actually hang out with and go to events with. Doing them to me is absolute gold, because it's the joy of collaborating with those people and making that content. And I actually don't care, how popular it is. If just 100 people love it, as opposed to getting thousands of views, like a normal video would, it's still worth doing, and I still think it brings really valuable content to the channel, but also it brings valuable content to my life.
I love valuable content to your life.
Well, that's what it's all about,
Inner Field has asked a very important question. Can we see you playing Twister in your new suit of armour? I feel that you and a couple of your armour friends should play Twister.
Do you know what?
Could you?
Inner Field.
You could.
Inner Field has quite likely just hit on what would be a viral video there.
I'm down for filming that. That sounds amazing.
Three or four people in full plate harness trying to play Twister.
Alex, will you play Twister with Matt so I can film it?
I can guarantee you there would be an awful lot of falling on the floor and not very much of actual twisting going on. Twisting doesn't work very well. Incidentally, while we're at it, I had terrible problems with the audio in getting ready for this. My microphone didn't want to talk to the computer, and then I found it very quiet. I remember vaguely in the pandemic period we had this issue with the microphone before, so apologies if you're getting too much background noise, because I've had to turn up the decibels very high in order to be heard at all. It was too quiet. We've got another super chat here. My gosh, there's so many coming in. Amazing. So this is RH. There is a username I can easily read. Amazing channel. Been binging it for a while now, and it's good to see you're a good guy. Well, that's subjective.
He is a good guy.
Lucy's not biased at all. That's a subjective thing, but thank you very much. Have a great new year, and to you too as well. Thank you a lot. There are so many messages here. Oh, love your videos with Todd and Scal. Yeah, do you know what? So that's actually worth... So one of the great things that happened on the channel in 2024 is after, more than a decade, I guess, of me and Scalagram doing videos, we got to meet face to face for the first time ever. And it's really nice when you meet someone from the internet, and you get on really well with them. And I genuinely, there's no BS there, I genuinely really enjoyed hanging out with Skull.
Was he how you expected him to be?
Yeah, actually.
That's the measure.
And, I have to be honest, there's a degree of, when a YouTuber turns on a camera, and this is me, I'm talking about myself here, I talk in a certain way, I present in a certain way. You talk like, well, anyway, not everybody, but I talk like I'm talking to a room full of people, I suppose. And that's not how you talk to an individual. And it's really nice to find someone who you just get on really well with. And you know, maybe Skal didn't feel the same way, but I really, really like Skal. He's a really nice guy, and he's got tons of knowledge as well. So it was really fun hanging out with him, and I hope I get to again. Todd is, you know, a long-standing real-life mate.
I really thought you were going to say something negative. I'm like, what is
Todd, on the other hand,
to say
oh my God, you might think Todd's nice on camera, but when that camera turns on,
Todd is brilliant.
No, Todd's a wonderful guy, and again, everything you see about Todd on screen is Todd in real life. He's a lovely, lovely guy, and he's a real life mate and has been for many years now, as it happens. And Todd and I knew each other for a few years, basically from me buying things from him, I guess, and just seeing him at events and stuff before we got to know each other well. But yeah, he's a great guy, and I can guarantee you that there's going to be more collaborations with Todd in 2025, because one of them is already pretty much on the calendar. In fact, we were supposed to film it in December, but we had to cancel it for various reasons. So, in fact, it got cancelled 2 or 3 times for various reasons. So, but it's hopefully going to happen January, February, and that will be some cool content to watch out for.
Can I distract you once again with a shiny box?
Ringo, yes. So Ringo, thank you for your super chat. Oh look, this got balloons and a number 1. I love that. Hi, excited to see new Victorian era videos. I know. Do you know what? I've got so excited about other things, Bronze Age swords and 17th century swords, that I've been neglecting my beloved Victorian era a bit recently. Are we having a restock soon on the website? Well, yes, actually is the answer. Lucy has actually been helping me with a lot of photography. So yeah, I've got loads of stock. I mean, my garage is full of stock at the moment. So there's loads of stuff going up on the website, including named and identified Wilkinsons, patent solid hilts. I've also got things like basket hilts. I've got other 17th century swords going up on there. There's loads of cool stuff coming, and there will be more Victorian video content coming soon as well. Thanks a lot for your chat. Patrick, hello. We were talking earlier on Facebook. Patrick Bondurant, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Have you ever handled a non-regulation British swords in which you think the changes made to a blade or hilt grip resulted in a worse sword than the regulation pattern? 10th Hussars 1912 excluded, lol. Right, so that's for anyone who doesn't know, the 10th Hussars 1912 pattern has, instead of the big protective bowl hilt, has a 3-bar hilt, because the 10th Hussars went, we are Hussars, goddammit! We're not going to have a bowl hilt like heavy cavalry, we're going to have a 3-bar hilt, even though functionally it's a worse hilt. Let's see. I mean, the basic answer is yes, but I can't think of a clear example off the top of my head. I have to say, I think some of the patent solid hilts, the grip shape of them is actually not as nice to use as the actual standard grip shape. So there's a sort of plain example. But yeah, I mean, I have seen some guards that didn't seem as good as the regulation guard. But overall, I have to be honest, I think most of the things from Wilkinson, you know, where people got a steel guard instead of a brass guard, well, that's clearly a good idea. A patent solid tang, solid hilt, is stronger than a standard tang in theory. Not that a standard tang is necessarily weak. Blades. I've seen some thrusting blades which I thought were a little bit impractical for war. I've actually got one up here. I'll just grab it quickly. So here we've got a blade which is essentially a sharp épée blade. So it's like you would find on an épée de combat, or a small sword indeed. And this was actually owned by the Colonel of the Scots Guards. And he was a keen fencer. Now, it's very likely this was the sword that he wore in civilian life, and you could use it as a dueling sword. But as a dueling sword, it's got a bit of a strange guard because it's a sabre guard. And I personally, there's absolutely no way on earth I would want to use an epee blade to parry bayonets or cavalry sabres in war, or cascaras or tulwars. I would want a more beefy blade. So specialised thrusting blade, great, but I'd want a bit more meat to it.
My left, who's asked any suggestions for a cheap but not crap longsword for a friend in the UK, if you could just specify for us whether you mean an antique, a blunt or a sharp, then we'll be able to give you a bit more information for that. And to those who don't know who I am, who've just joined, I'm Lucy. I'm Matt's wife. Hi. What's the main source you train rapier from? I don't know the answer to that.
No. So the main source I train rapier from is, and some people are going to hate me for saying this, and I would have done 10 years ago.
Oh, it's Swettenham!
No.
No?
It's, you see,
Worse?
Lucy's clearly not going to guess this. It's nothing at all.
Oh, no. That's worse than
No, that's only partially
Everyone's
true.
Be so cross now.
That's only partially true. So the true answer is that I have owned rapiers, HEMA rapiers, for many years, but it was only about a year and a half ago, I think, that I got my first rapier that I actually liked to fence with, which is a Coveton cup hilt. And I enjoyed fencing with it so much, I just started fencing with it. Now, obviously, I've studied a lot of sources in the past, and I have actually studied, like I've taken part in rapier lessons and rapier classes with various instructors. You know, I live quite close to Rob Runacres, for example, who teaches various Spanish Vulgar systems and French and some Italian as well. I've studied classes with School of the Sword under various people, actually. Kaz Stewart, for example, doing things like Fabrice. But what do I actually do? So, what I actually do at the moment is most heavily sort of inspired by Marcelli, I would say. However, I'm quite interested in trying to make Swettenham work. So I have toyed with Swettenham a bit over the years, and that's why Lucy said Swettenham, because she's heard me talking about him. But so far, I wouldn't say that I do Swettenham. I'm just trying to get my head around some of the techniques and trying to make them work in fencing. So a mixture of things really, and you know, sometimes I'll try and do, based on people I know that do Destrezza, I will maybe for a few minutes I'll try to do a bit of Destrezza, and then I'll switch back to my more typical kind of Italian rapier. So yeah, so nothing in specific. I'm trying to find my ideal rapier source, and I haven't yet found it, but I do like Marcelli quite a lot, and it's a good read. But I also realise there's problematic aspects to Marcelli because it's quite late, and he's also talking about an earlier system. Anyway, it's a complicated. I'll probably make a video about him when I've got a better handle on him as a source.
So who makes good reproduction pretty longswords?
So I mean, the answer to the question is always budget dependent.
Yeah.
So you know, by and large, for longswords for HEMA training, so blunts, you know, there's a number of companies that can make really nice longswords for a good price. Coveton, Reginier, Siggy. There's a lot of good companies out there. Obviously, full disclaimer, I work with Coveton, so my go-to company is Coveton. But if you're looking within the UK and something a bit more bespoke, then check out Balefire Blades. And Balefire Blades grew out of, I think it's Blades? Balefire. Anyway, if you just search for B-A-L-E fire, Balefire, if you just search Balefire Swords, I think it's Balefire Blades. Where's the Balefire Armoury? Anyway, I think it's Balefire Blades. They kind of grew out of Danelli Armouries. So yeah, and you know, Marco Danelli makes great stuff, but he doesn't make a lot of stuff these days, and he's now back in Italy. So yeah, if I had a longer time to think about it, I'm sure I could come up with some other good suggestions. There's also Andrew Feast down in Brighton. Feast Spada makes some very high-end custom stuff as well. And there's Rob Miller at Castle Keep. up in the Isle of Skye, I think, and there's Paul MacDonald, MacDonald Armouries in Edinburgh. There's a number of really good sword makers in the UK actually. You might get a more complete answer if you ask on one of the Facebook pages, for example.
Also, if he's not said a company, it's not that they're bad. It
just means that it's just what's coming up in my head because of people I've spoken to recently and stuff like that. So
there was a nice question. I'm really sorry, I've lost it.
What can I just say? There's a whopping 177 people here right now, which is really, really impressive considering that I didn't tell anyone this is happening until.
So I'm sorry that I've temporarily lost your question on the screen, but somebody asked what would be the best treatise to start like new HEMA practitioners to, which obviously again it depends which weapon. It wasn't mentioned in there which one you like. But I mean, for me, I always think Hutton is the best way to start. It
depends what weapon you want to do,
but do saber
for saber. But we also say Hutton because there are probably about 50 people in the world who get really, really annoyed that we say Hutton. So it's worth saying Hutton.
I mean, it's also true, and they're wrong.
What you'll find in HEMA is with any system or tradition or treatise, there are people that for some reason loathe that historical master, and George Silver is one of those people. Like, it's a meme. Okay, there are thousands of people in the world.
Speaking as someone who studied silver for many years, there's a lot of people that don't like silver.
There's a lot of people that hate silver. There's a lot of people that hate Swetnum.
I'm just going to stand outside the room to cough.
Okay, see you in a minute. Yeah, we're both with our colds here. So I would say for saber, Hutton is a really good entry point, but I'm also a big fan myself of John Musgrave Waite, which you can find on the Schola website. For side sword, for example, I'd say Marozzo all the way, although some later sources like Dallagocchi and Vigiani are worth referring to.
We've already said Hutton, we don't need to say anything.
I would say if you're looking at rapier, I don't actually know at this point what's the best entry point. Probably Fabrice is one of the most influential sources of his time, but I'm not sure what's available in terms of translations and stuff. I think Tom Leone did some. If you want to, and then Guy Windsor's done some books on rapier as well, you might want to check out. If you're looking at longsword, you've essentially got, do you go down the Fiore, Vardi, Marozzo route, or do you go down the Lichtenau route?
And which one's better, Matt?
Well...
Don't be diplomatic, just tell it like it is.
No, that's a massive question, and
that's
you know
a video.
what? Yeah, that will probably be it, because my answer isn't probably what you expect, because I teach Fiore, but I have a lot of respect for the Lichtenau lineage. But moreover, the later longsword sources like Meyer can be, and a lot of people would argue, the 16th century longsword material is a better entry point for modern HEMA longsword than the earlier, more opaque sources are. But that's a massive topic. I'll do a video on it, I promise. So there we go. There's a sort of cursory overview. I noticed a question. It's scrolled up now, but it was a really good question. What do I think about the basket hilts and mortuary hilts with flamberge blades, with wavy blades? Well, first of all...
They're funny.
Emotionally and functionally, I freaking love them. Okay, so Scal and I did a video recently on wavy blades, and Andy Johnson did a brilliant video actually using a wavy blade, and I've got Morrow Chris's with wavy blades that are scary sharp.
Sorry, pause. Is a Morrow Chris different to a Chris?
Yes, because it's a broader and bigger. It's more sword size. You know those big ones I've got?
They're not a Chris.
They are, but that's a Morrow Chris. A normal Chris, like an Indonesian Chris, is more
big?
a dagger. No, Moro are people.
Oh.
So Moro is actually a group of the Filipinos who converted to Islam, and so the Europeans, the Spanish, I guess, knew them as Moors because they were Muslim.
Okay.
So it's actually an anachronistic term that kind of stuck. But anyway.
Sorry, I've derailed, and do you remember where you were?
And so, functionally, I think wavy blades are freaking awesome and have loads of advantages and are massively underappreciated, and I'm going to come back to wavy blades, and I might do some collaboration with Todd at some point. But in terms of the historical validity of them, there is a problem, because we know that wavy blades on basket hilts existed in history because they're mentioned in written historical sources, very rarely, but occasionally. But the problem is that most of the ones that are around today might not be genuine. They might be Victorian assemblages of parts to make something that looks really cool. Or maybe they're not. But we need to, anyway, it's a massively interesting topic. But fundamentally, I love them. I love the idea of a basket hilt with a wavy blade.
Is that the nice man that we know?
That is Mr. James Elmsley. So we have a sword celebrity in the chat here.
Yeah.
James, who of the Elmsley typology of single-edged medieval swords, so messers and falchions.
I will
essentially.
leave if this cough gets any worse. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. So James is obligingly answering lots of questions about maces in the in the chat. So I'll leave James to it. Hey, and we've got Ethan from Ravensbeak Forge. Wow, hey man, how's it going? So that's Ravensbeak Forge, who make a lot of the tomahawks and dirks and stuff that I've shown in my videos. And in fact, he's got a nice Highland dirk waiting for me in Canada, waiting to be shipped, and I need to sort out the shipping for that. But anyway, we'll sort that out after Christmas. But
it
yeah,
is after Christmas.
But shout out to Ravensbeak Forge, amazing, beautifully hand forged, traditionally forged knives, axes, daggers, and even swords in Canada. So good to see you on here. Well, there's so many people. We're up to 180 people now.
I got
cool.
distracted from reading, sorry. There were some good questions up here. Hang on. Someone asked what your favourite something that you'd somethings this year was.
Oh, hold on. There was something about an Albion there. Oh, man. What's the best non-regulation officer? Hey, it's Rami. Hey, so we can always trust on Rami to ask a non-regulation British officer's sword. So, what's the best non-regulation officer's sword you've ever handled? I can't answer that question because there are too many.
Gun to your head. What is the best one?
So
he needs to know.
So one of my favourite ones. I'll grab it off my wall. Is this? So this is dated to 1858. It's made by Wilkinson. It has a completely non-regulation hilt and a completely non-regulation blade. The blade is what's known as a Toledo pattern, and it is a straight Toledo because Toledo pattern blades came as straight or curved. That means it has two thin fullers running halfway up the blade here, and essentially a bar-like dumbbell section for parrying. So very, very strong, very, very stiff. And then the rest of the blade is double-edged and straight, essentially a broadsword. Good for thrusting, good for cutting. It's big, it's 36.5-inch blade. It has a completely symmetrical and equibalanced, as Wilkinson called it, hilt, with a pattern that was quite rare. We found it on a few other swords. There's one on a sword that belonged to someone who was in the Bengal Horse Artillery during the Indian Mutiny. And then the grip has no back piece as such, but has what Wilkinson called the French back, which means a pommel cap with a bit of a back piece up here. And it's a slightly shorter grip than normal as well, which I actually quite like short grips. So there we go. It's an absolutely gorgeous sword. But I collect non-regulation officer swords, so I've got a lot here that I like. There's nothing wrong with the standard 1845 pattern blade. I personally prefer flat solid blades, so I prefer extra wide. And I've got one here. I'll just grab one actually, as I've got one. There we go. So this is a patent hilt. Again, it's Wilkinson. It has a standard rifles guard, a full width tang, patent hilt, and the blade is wider than normal, and it has no fuller. So it's like a bit like a cutlass blade. It's a flat section, straight directly to the edge. Absolutely awesome cross section for cutting. A bit wider than normal, so very good at cutting, and it's a bit longer than normal as well, which suits me because obviously bear in mind a lot of Victorian swords were made for their average height, and I'm 6'1", so I would be pretty tall by Victorian standards.
There is a question here that's a really... Whoa! The microphone fell. Can you still hear us? Which is... Oh, man, it's gone. Okay, this is a really good question because some people might well not know this. How is it considered that type of sword if neither the blade nor the grip is regulation? So why is it still that type of sword?
Well, in that particular case, it's not. Is the simple answer. That isn't any particular model of sword. So we can't call that sword any pattern because the hilt, the guard doesn't have a pattern name, the grip doesn't have a pattern name, and the blade is a Toledo pattern because I guess you could say the blade is a Toledo pattern blade, but that in itself was non-regulation. So it's completely non-regulation. No part of that sword is regulation. With the second one I showed, the only bit really which is regulation is the guard, which is a rifles guard, 1827 pattern rifles guard. The grip is the patent solid hilt, and the blade is non-regulation because it doesn't have a fuller, so it's not the 1845 pattern.
So you have another super chat.
Scott McGregor, hey, good to see you here. Hello, sorry, I'm just reading. I'll read out. So Scott says, "Hello, fellow inefficient chemical engines. I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas. Do you play tabletop games like BattleTech, 40k, etc.?" Well, do I, Lucy?
No.
But I don't currently.
So he would, right? He's ready to go when we're not flat out.
So the answer to that question is actually I used to. Okay, so I grew up playing Warhammer Fantasy Battle and also doing Dungeons and Dragons. So I used to run AD&D. I think it was 3rd edition games back in the 90s. And in Forgotten Realms setting, mostly. We did a little bit of Dark Sun, and I also did some Star Wars role-playing game and various other things, but mostly AD&D Forgotten Realms. In terms of 40k, I used to paint the miniatures, but I think I only ever played 40k maybe 5 times. I was more into Fantasy Battle.
The painting's the fun bit.
However, if I just roll back a little bit, let's see what I've got here.
It's going to open the cabinet for you.
Yeah, I'm going to open the cabinet because...
Oh, the camera's fucked.
Ah, no problem. We can fix it. You hang with us. We will fix the camera.
Also, sorry for saying a rude word. The messages were more polite. I think they can still hear us.
Yeah, we will fix this camera in a jiffy because I had a similar thing when I was testing it earlier. Right, hold on. We will do that, and then we will do that.
Can you tell us when we're back again so that we know? It does have a green light now, so...
Yeah, so...
Are we good?
So it might not be back on the live yet, but it will be coming back, I promise you. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. So we should be back, yeah?
Oh my gosh, the chat went loopy. But it didn't go loopy, it just went and then it came to the back again.
So yeah, so I used to do tabletop wargaming when I was younger, and then a few years ago, before we had our youngest child,
our most recent child,
that derailed our lives, and then the pandemic came along. Anyway, all of that. Yes, I started doing Indian Mutiny wargaming. So these are...
I've forgotten that.
Yeah, so these are 28mm. I think they're from a mixture of places, including Iron Duke miniatures, Foundry miniatures, and various others. But yes, here are some minis. Maybe I'll stick some photos of these up on the page if there's any curiosity. So that is an Indian native officer of native infantry, and that is a sepoy. And contrary to what some people might expect, I did not have British forces. I had mutineer forces, or I have mutineer forces. So my friends decided to go British plus loyal Indian, and I went rebel. So I was fully in the rebel camp as far as that was concerned. They were more fun to paint as far as I was concerned.
Thank you for letting us know that the video is back. That's really helpful.
So yeah, and So a good friend of mine, James Dix, who runs Dixie's Den. For anybody who's a wargamer, you might know of him. He was someone who was quite renowned a long time ago, and going, rather, not to say that he isn't now, but going all the way back for winning various competitions for painting, Games Workshop miniatures. And he does all types of wargaming, as do a lot of my other friends as well, actually. For example, Dickie, Richard Linehan, if you're out there, and various other people. So it's something that I want to get back into, and I love tabletop wargaming. I also have, as it so happens, I also have a whole load of 1:72 scale tanks, and I want to start doing World War II wargaming at some point as well. So yes, the short answer is I'm not doing any wargaming at the moment. But I do love wargaming, and it's something I want to get back to. And in terms of role-playing games, I've actually been thinking about starting to do D&D again recently, because I used to love it, and increasing numbers of our friends are getting back into D&D. So
hang on. There it is. There you go. I think that's a good question.
So Patrick Bondurant says, as you've gotten married and had kids, have you had to change how you display your swords for safety to avoid arguments, wiping sweaty fingerprints off blades more frequently? So
there's no avoiding
in a way,
really.
No. So I met Lucy through the world of swords.
Yeah.
So luckily that was already dealt with at the beginning. But the short answer is actually no, because in our house, the only places that actually have swords are this room, which you see, and the garage, which you also see in videos. And basically, I've got some away in storage and in lockers and stuff, but the only places where weapons are actually on display and available to touch are in my study and in the garage. Now, the funny thing is, theoretically, our kids could come in here and finger the swords, but they just don't. I mean, even my 5-year-old son, who is sometimes a maniac, even he doesn't. Like, he just knows. I think...
When you grow up around weapons,
yeah,
because I had the same thing growing up in a shooting family, I think you have much more of a sort of indoctrinated almost respect for that kind of thing. And, we were careful when they were very little.
And, the comparison I make is with kitchen knives. And, you teach your kids early on, hopefully, not to touch the kitchen knives, and certainly don't play with them. And it's just the same here. They just... I can leave the door to my study open, and if I'm not in here, they just won't come in here. So it might be different when they've got friends around, or when they're a bit older.
That is true actually, because they do. The friends are more of a problem. It's a bit like pets. It's a bit like dogs. Like it's the friends of the kids that are the ones you have to be a bit more cautious about, rather than your own kids.
Just a shout out to Luna Corvus. Thank you very much for your chat message, and Happy New Year to you too. Oh.
No. What?
Oh, wow. Captain Carrot.
Actual Einar. We were like...
Oh, my God.
We were wondering where you were quite recently.
Carrot 421911. So this is our good friend Einar in Norway.
We miss you.
Einar, as I think it's more correctly pronounced, actually. Einar's a good friend of ours from years ago, but unlike most people, he isn't on Facebook. So it's difficult to keep on contact with people that aren't on Facebook. So it's great to see you, dude.
Message us.
Yeah. Drop me an email and let me know how you're doing. It's really great to hear from you. I hope life's good in Norway.
I'm not emotional. You're emotional. We're all cool.
I've got some embarrassing photos of you, but let's not talk about that.
You think he doesn't have embarrassing photos of you? Shit. Now see what you've said on my
I didn't think this through, did I? Damn it. Right.
Look,
we've met, James Elmsley and Ravenspeak Forge talking to each other. I love it. It's beautiful. It's we're the matchmakers of knife makers now. Right.
I mean, I imagine they already knew.
They may have been talking already, yeah, but it's nice to see them talking on the chat here anyway. Trondheim. Whoa, Lemonade's here as well. That's Junaid. Hey, Junaid. Wow.
Sorry,
that
now
is
this is
awesome.
seeming like an in-joke stream, and it's not. It's like
That's really cool. We're seeing people we like.
it's just that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow, did not expect that. Oh no, what a wonderful New Year's Eve.
And we could have been out partying hard like all the cool people. But no, we sat in your study.
Those days are gone.
How dare you?
That's really, really cool.
Oh, Jade!
I'll throw some hearts out. There we go. I don't know if that
I
works.
don't know what happens when because I've been accidentally clicking it too.
I do not know. Can I just say, incidentally, so we haven't done a live stream for
a year, I think.
Yeah, like easily. And we were doing them quite regularly during pandemic, and we really enjoyed it, wasn't it? It was really nice to do. It's just a question of, you know, finding the right time in the week and this kind of stuff. A time when, you know, we both want to do it, so you have to coordinate.
It does. Sorry, hanging out with 150 plus people online counts as a party. It does.
It totally does, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. Over 170 people at the moment. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, Carrot knows a few stories, I'm sure. My God. Yeah, Carrot knows it. Carrot.
You have no idea.
Carrot knows.
He could destroy me.
Carrot has seen parts of me that Lucy hasn't seen. Yeah, no, there's no question. Carrot knows things about me that Lucy doesn't know and will never know.
Oh, you think?
Hello from Poland. Hello from UK. Oh my God, I want to get back to Poland. I absolutely love Poland.
I've never been to Poland.
Oh, we've got Krakow. Krakow's where I know. I'm sure there's lots of other lovely parts of Poland, but Krakow's where I know the most, and I just love it. Such a nice place, such nice people.
I can't believe that sign on.
I know, that's so cool. Right, I'm just scrolling. Yeah, I'm just looking through the messages. I'm turning into James May with the Airfix kits. I mean, that was done and dusted when I was about 5 years old. I've been making Airfix kits since basically the day I was born. So kind of weird background family story.
Nothing wrong with model kits.
No, I freaking love model kits. Particularly planes is what I mostly grew up with, and then tanks a little bit later. But my dad got me into it because my dad used to make model kits for a shop window for the display, just as, you know, for fun. He got me into it at an early age. I remember one of the earliest model kits, and it was Airfix that he made for me, was actually the Empire Strikes Back. So it must have been about 1980, 1981, possibly 82 at the latest.
Star Wars model kit?
Yeah, so
Did not know that.
Airfix used to, they still do, they've re-released them, but back in the 80s, Airfix used to do Starfix models, and my dad made the AT-AT model for me. And it was really complicated because the legs could move and everything. Anyway, it's... And I'm, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm massively, Lucy can attest to this, I'm massively into planes, into warplanes, particularly World War II. But
I like planes. He makes me look like a person that hates planes. That's how much he likes planes.
That's something I probably hide pretty well on the channel, but shout out to another channel that I follow regularly is Growling Sidewinder, who does a lot of flight sim stuff, one-on-one fights between different planes from different periods of history, modern and historical, and I freaking love Growling Sidewinder.
Awesome information. Ravenspeak Forge says he knows a guy that makes tomahawks out of tank parts.
That's awesome.
We need one of those.
Am I into warships?
Oh!
Well, so my good friend Alex, known to the internet as Drakinifel.
Is that how you're meant to say his YouTube name?
Drakinifel, yes, rather than Drakinifel, as I used to say it, but Drakinifel. He is clearly into warships because he has an entire he has an entire massive channel devoted to warships. Am I into warships compared to him? Not really.
Are you compared to anybody else in the world? Yes.
Quite a bit, but here's the thing.
What's a warship? Hang on. Is like Warrior a warship?
Yeah, so what I was going to say
Then I am into some warships.
So here's the thing. I think most people who are into warships are into like basically 20th century warships. I'm into pre-20th century warships. So a little bit like, am I into firearms? Yes. But I'm more into historical, like older firearms than modern firearms. I still like a G36. I still like, I've dabbled in the world of airsoft quite a bit, and I do like modern firearms as well. And I have a 2.2 version of a HK416 that I shoot, but I probably overall prefer a Winchester lever action, or a Colt revolver, or an Adams revolver, or a blunderbuss, or a swivel gun. So I'm a bit like that with warships. So basically, I do like warships, but I'm more interested in older warships. Give me a trireme, I love it. Give me a medieval cog, and I like it, or Viking era ships. And I've studied them quite a bit as well.
Sorry, someone mentioned Lego, so I've lost all focus. I like Chaos Omega, much cooler name than Chris Omega. I like pirate ships because of Lego, I think.
And who doesn't love?
They were classics.
Yeah, who doesn't love the idea of a galleon, or I love schooners. I tell you why, because
What is that, like a yacht?
A schooner is a particular type. It's to do with the shape of the sails.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't even understand that reaction. So a schooner has. So whereas like.
Oh,
Victory,
hang on. I don't think I care.
So we've established Lucy doesn't care about warships, but
no, I care about the Warrior.
Yeah, so HMS Warrior is in Portsmouth, and we live about 40 minutes north of Portsmouth. So for us
They've got cutlasses on the ceiling, and when you walk underneath it, they're like...
and revolvers.
And they've got
Colt
cannons, but only 1 or 2 of them are actually real cannons, but they're still cool.
But so we'd like to go to the historic dockyard in Portsmouth. They've got the Mary Rose Museum. They've got Victory, obviously from the Battle of Trafalgar. They've got Warrior. I guess I do like warships, but I like older warships.
Basically, if it's related to militaria in even the most tangential way, he probably likes it.
I've realised what it is.
You literally just shook your finger at a camera.
I like... This is how you define which warships I like.
Cool ones!
I like warships which had swords on them. If a warship had a sword, then I like it.
Oh, this is overheating. Are we still with you?
Don't worry about that. Yeah, my laptop's making some funky noises.
Fan noises.
So Stuart Grant says, when I was in ATC, Army Training Corps, I guess,
I was wondering what that meant.
I used to shoot the Lee Enfield Mark IV 303. Yeah, so I have an SMLE 303 that I shoot now. And yeah, they're lovely. They're lovely bits of kit. So yes, I am into guns. And to be completely honest with you guys, if we moved to America, I would probably become a sword and gun channel more. But it's difficult for me to make firearms content in the UK because I only have a limited range of firearms to shoot. But moreover, there's the problems with YouTube and the algorithm. They do not like firearms content, unfortunately. So for now,
I have to go and cough again. Sorry.
Yeah. So for now, I stick more to hand weapons because.
Hang on. And he was being asked about, so here he is. He's complaining because it's fireworks this evening. So.
Oh yeah, so because there's lots of fireworks for New Year's Eve, we've shut him inside. So yeah, he was trying to get in to join us. But Scott McGregor says, but have you actually sailed a sailing ship with rigging and such? Once you get used to the cold and the rigging, it's genuinely magical. No. I don't think I have. No. I mean, I've been on plenty of ships, but I don't think I've ever actually been on a sailing ship while it was sailing. Have you been on a sailing ship? Or even a boat? I don't think I've even...
So I've been on a ship with sails, but only when it was not sailing. I don't think I've ever been on a sailing ship.
No,
my dad has a sea fishing boat, so I am boat competent, but
a friend of
not
ours,
sailing one.
A friend of ours volunteered on one of the tall ships.
He did. That sounded cool.
And so no, it's definitely something I'd like to do one day when I don't have a cold.
Did you read out the
Yeah, I
chat
did.
while
Yeah,
I was having a big old
yeah.
cough? It is Cat Easton, otherwise known as Oscar.
Come to America, but bring all the swords, please. Yeah, do you know what? I'd like to. Lucy's not so keen.
The problem would be bringing all the other animals.
Yeah, we've got a lot of animals. You don't know about that. How many guinea pigs do you have, Lucy?
really normal number.
Yeah.
I literally only have 9 guinea pigs.
And how many rabbits?
5.
And how many reptiles?
That's not a reasonable question to ask. I don't know how many reptiles I have.
The thing is, so Lucy's big into herpetology.
Very good.
Yes. So apart from, you might know that Lucy also runs a crochet-based YouTube channel. So she's into crochet and she's massively into animals, and she has a lot of exotic pets. So she can't really complain about my swords because she's got a room full of reptiles and I've got a room full of swords.
Never once have I, or would I ever complain
No.
about all the swords. As you mentioned earlier, that is how we met.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I have a lot of animals. In fairness, some of them belong to the children.
And I also have...
And he has a frog.
I have a large horned frog, aka Pac-Man frog, called Paco.
I have other frogs.
Over there.
But that is Matt's frog.
He's actually looking at me right now from his water bowl. So yeah, I have...
He is. He's watching you.
I've got a large chunky frog, and the reason that Lucy can't say how many reptiles she's got is because she has morning geckos. Morning geckos
Morning geckos
breed
are parthenogenic, so they're all female, but they can all like self-fertilize, so they're just infinite.
They just produce
They're
eggs.
just infinite.
They just
They're
produce
infinite
eggs
tiny
and
geckos,
babies
but
with no need of men at all.
You feel like you resent the morning geckos. They're adorable, but but it's not just that. There are a lot of other reptiles too.
But we have no way of counting the morning geckos because we don't know how many are in the tanks.
Well, I mean, I could count them, but
I'd
have to take apart. They all live in like natural bioactive habitats, so they're like planted vivariums and stuff. You can't
Jurassic
take them
gecko.
apart very easily. I think that we should start a shop called Swords and Scales that
Oh.
has reptiles and swords in it, and it should be done
There's-
because it's really good.
There's questions for you now. I love this. So Liam Vickerman says, "Oh, Lucy, what's your opinion of the Cuvier's dwarf caiman?"
Really cute. That is my opinion. Yeah, they're adorable. Yeah.
So we're going to be getting a crocodile next.
No, they are not good pets, and we have small children.
So that was a deliberate trolling because a caiman's not a crocodile, is it?
It's a crocodilian.
Okay. I thought I was going to go, actually, I think you're fine.
A friend of ours was once wrong about snakes at a dinner table. It didn't go down very well, but yeah.
So Marius Schoenmacher wants to know, do you have any birds?
So very sadly, we did have chickens.
Oh, I forgot about them. Yeah.
Yeah, but a badger or a fox got them. It was quite awful. There was a storm and it churned up the ground, so the like penned in edges of the thing, they managed to tunnel under when they wouldn't normally.
So we had them for a year and a half or something like that.
About 2 years.
Yeah,
they were lovely.
So we had them for a couple of years and they made loads of eggs for us and they were really nice and we really liked them, and then a fox killed them all.
Yeah, so until I can work out a way of making an even more fox-proof pen, we won't have any more chickens.
Yeah, and I know some people would say shoot the foxes, but
we live by wood. It's not possible.
You'd get rid of one fox and there'd be another fox pretty soon after. We've also got badgers around here, so I went out in the garden recently with a torch and I shone the torch up the garden, and there was a big old badger at the end of the garden digging away looking for slugs. It was quite cute. But crochet is illegal in Nevada. What? So is that true? Luke P claims that crochet is... I think that's croquet. Is croquet illegal in Nevada? I didn't think... Hold on.
I think that's...
Nevada?
I think that's just a joke.
Yeah, okay. But Nevada, of all states, I don't think is anything illegal in Nevada.
So YJ, just to completely skew off from swords and militaria, says they thought parthenogenesis was more rare. Parthenogenesis within not typically parthenogenic populations. So, for example, in some snakes or lizards do occasionally perform parthenogenesis. But within populations, there are a couple of species, morning geckos being one of them, that are fully parthenogenec. And sorry to everyone else who didn't think that they were going on a reptile stream.
So Pal or Pala, Pal Rasmussen is a often comments and is a long time supporter of the channel. So thanks. I don't know how to pronounce your first name. Is it Pal or Pala? I suspect it's Pala, and I think, is it Finnish name? It says, Matt, bloke on the range, manages a British firearm channel. I know, I'm Facebook friends with him. So we've never actually met in person. He lives in Switzerland, but he obviously is British. But he decided, I think about 20 years ago, that if you wanted to be into guns, probably living in Britain wasn't the best place to be. So he went quite sensibly to Switzerland. But yeah, I know his channel well, and yeah, he does some really cool content. There's a number of gun firearms content channels that I follow, actually. Cole and Noir, Garan Thumb, there's a whole bunch of them. God, Hickok 45. There's loads of good gun channels out there, and it really sucks how badly YouTube treats them, because honestly, some of the biggest channels that I follow are gun channels, and YouTube has just crapped all over them, for no good reason. Anyway, let's not make this political, but there we go. I'm on.
You went to the negative.
I'm on their side, okay?
Quick, talk about lizards
and I have
again.
always realised swords channels might be next. So, anything weapons related at some point might get penalised. And on that topic, I want to say one thing. I've noticed on other people's comment sections, some people are under the impression that sword channels have somehow been hammered by YouTube. They haven't. They haven't at all. As far as I can tell, we are not at all penalised, and there are a number of sword and history related channels which are doing as well as any other channels I can see. So, so far, touch wood, wooden desk down here, YouTube doesn't seem to penalise weapons channels in general. It seems to just be firearms.
That's
right.
that. Is that?
Oh, and yeah, Forgotten Weapons. Obviously, I follow Ian on Forgotten Weapons. I've actually spoken a bit to Ian this year for the first time. I think we were aware of each other in the last few years. I say aware of it. I'm not putting myself on the same level as Ian, because obviously he's got a much, much bigger platform than I have. But yeah, we've spoken a bit. Really nice guy. And obviously Jonathan Ferguson from the Royal Armourers, I'm also friendly with, and at some point we might collaborate somehow. It's a little bit difficult because he works for the Royal Armourers, so he does stuff for them. Obviously, I've also done stuff with the Royal Armourers, but my stuff is sword related, so I do stuff with Yasin, for example, rather than Jonathan. But we may contrive some kind of way to collaborate in the future. And yeah, Ian McCullum at Forgotten Weapons, amazing channel. Matt, would you... So I'm reading the one below. Lucius Bem says, Matt, would you be able to defeat a lion? You get to choose the sword.
He would like to choose something longer than a sword.
I honestly don't know. I think I probably...
How ill is this lion?
And how ill am I right
How
now?
well rested is Matt?
Yeah, am I in full health or am I in my current state? I think I probably could beat a lion with a sword, but... But I'm realistic enough, and I've seen enough real
But what if you saw it
fights.
on the security cameras outside the house?
Don't talk about that. That's
He couldn't be alive.
That's an inside joke, and we cut.
With a sword.
I was ready when it counted. I was ready. Okay, we can't tell you any more about this for legal reasons. Anyway, I think that I could beat a lion with a sword, but as I said, I think I'm realistic enough.
Still imagining a lion holding a sword.
But I just keep saying but. I'm never getting past the but. I'm realistic enough to know that I could get lucky or unlucky, and I think that's true with any weapon. It doesn't matter whether you've got a gun or whether you've got a knife. It's a bit like, I did a video talking about knife versus bear, and some people were like, "You're crazy! You could never defeat a knife with a bear." The fact is, we know
Could you
people.
defeat a knife with a bear?
The fact is that beat a knife with a bear. You know what I mean. The fact is, we know that bears have been killed by people with the knives. It's well historically documented. But they got lucky. I guess we've all seen The Revenant. But actually,
I have not seen
you
that.
haven't. You
it
should...
doesn't sound like my
No,
cup of tea.
it's Lucy likes happy films, which The Revenant isn't. But it's about luck, isn't it? So against a large creature like that, the problem is you could stab it once and it could be dead, or you could stab it once and it could run away or be massively incapacitated, or you could stab it once, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times and it have almost no effect.
Oscar puts his money on the lion.
So yeah, I think it would be playing the odds. I think different people with different swords would have different odds against, let's say, a fully grown male African lion. Anyway, what was the question you were pointing at, Lucy?
I was just pointing out, I think that's that nice guy who came from America to fight camp.
Oh, cool. There are so many. So yeah. So we almost touched on 200 people there, which honestly, with little pre-warning, was really, really impressive. I think we're going to start wrapping things up in a minute because I'm starting to lose my voice, and we probably need to have some dinner, don't we? And watch the next part of Squid Game. Is anyone else?
No, don't spoil Squid Game.
I'm not going to say anything about it.
No, they will. Don't say anything.
Oh yeah, okay.
Don't spoil it.
Don't talk about Squid Game.
Don't talk about Series 2.
Oh, 11B Doped In Family Man says that's literally the first beefy Toledo topology I've seen. Yeah,
You went back in time there.
I've got others, actually. So maybe I'll make a dedicated video just about the Toledo pattern. In fact, I will, because I've recently procured an actual Spanish Toledo pattern blade. So yeah, that'll be a good opportunity. So at some point, probably late January, maybe February, I'll do a video about that. Because it is an interesting blade type, and they do vary quite a bit. So, Pish, I would describe the name, as you handle all the antiques with bare hands, how much ballastol do you use per week? So I've actually got a quite interesting answer to that question. So people's pH on their skin oil varies. And at Pooley Sword, which are one of the companies which have sort of survived beyond Wilkinson's sword and taken on quite a lot of Wilkinson's work, I've heard them say that they only allow certain people in the company to handle blades with bare hands. And it's based on skin pH level. Now, I have noticed that I obviously have not particularly acidic skin oil, so I'm able to handle blades and it doesn't really do much to them. That being said, yes, I do oil them, and I find honestly if you keep a thin film of oil on a blade, then you can handle it quite a number of times without really having to worry about it too much. But just a rub with an oily cloth is enough. Remember, any kind of, at least for me anyway, finger oil is really quite minimal on a sword blade. So someone there said come to Denmark. Palla said come with Drac to Denmark and sell the Viking ships. You know, that'd be freaking awesome. And funnily enough, Alex and I have been talking, or me and Drac have been talking about possibly doing one or two business trips together to do some filming together, because there are certain places, including in Scandinavia and places down in the Balkans, where there's stuff where we could both film a lot of content in the same places. So yeah, it's definitely something that we're talking about and considering. Right. So, oh wow, Jeff Hedgecock's here. Wow, hello. Good to see you here. I saw you fleetingly at Torm, but I didn't get a chance to come and say hi because I was on a tight timeline. But great to see you, and I love some of the helmets you've been posting recently. The Barboot was beautiful, and what was it? You did something else. The Salet, of course, the Salet with the bevel, absolutely beautiful. So that's Historic Armour in the chat there. That's Jeffrey Hedgecock. And yeah, go and check out his stuff. Amazing armour. It makes really, really beautiful stuff. And a very nice guy, and he's based in California, who I'm sure at the moment have much nicer weather than we do. We've got
it's a storm.
Yeah, we've got a literal storm outside. And happy New Year to you too. But yeah, cool. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up there, I think. to the nearly 200, we got up into the 190s, to the nearly 200 people that have joined us tonight, we wish you an absolute happy new year. Oh, and thank you, we just got another super chat at the last minute there from Dillagaff. Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you too. Thank you so much for all of your support to the channel over this year. I just got another. Why did Europe not have its own EIDO or did it?
Oh.
Yes, it kind of did. Have a look at Fiore and Vardi. So sword drawing. Yes, it did exist, and you even find it in rapier treatises as well. Let's do a video about that. What a great idea for a topic. But anyway, yeah, thank you to everyone who's joined us this evening. Thank you to everyone who's supported and just watched the channel over the year. If you're not subscribed, please make sure that you do so, because it makes a huge difference to the channel and the number of people that get to see my videos and then interact in the chat and everything else in the comment section. And also a massive shout out to my patrons on Patreon, because they are, as I say, they're a bedrock to the channel and really, really help support things going forwards, because the YouTube algorithm is like this all the time. It's been quite good recently, but you know, sometimes it's down, and patrons really, really help support in those times that are down. But this channel ended this year on a high in terms of you know, views and revenue and everything like that. The channel's going really, really well, and that's down to you guys, you people out there watching and spreading the word. So thank you for doing that. Happy New Year. Have a wonderful evening. If it's not already New Year where you are, it's not New Year here, it's only 8:40 here. But when it comes, have a good one. Stay safe. Don't drink too much. I'm going to finish this wine. I've been quite sensible this evening. And I will see you on the other side with another video really, really soon. The first video of 2025. And I hope you'll be there to see it. Thank you to Lucy for joining. Thank you to all of you. Much love.
Happy
See you
New
soon.
Year.
It's been great. Thanks, guys.
Well done.